This is Pat Bamber here for PSB Sports. I'm at the Dorchester Hotel here today for the Tony Bellew vs David Haye press conference. With me, after a very, very lively press conference head-to-head, Eddie Hearn. How are you doing, Eddie?
Very well, mate. Calm.
Yeah, I mean, literally one place only to start the head-to-head. You're obviously there pretty much in the middle of it. How would you assess what happened and moving forward as well?
Just come together, heads, Haye through a left hook, separated, all very quick, you know. To be honest, what we've seen lately, you know, with Chisora and White, I think that was handbags really in comparison. So, you know, it's all good for the build-up, all good for the anticipation. Everyone's excited. Roll on March the 4th.
Were you expecting it to kick off that much? I mean, were you expecting a heated head-to-head?
Bro, no,
yeah.
No. I mean, but the problem was, like, it was so heated, the presser, that if that head-to-head would have happened at the start of the presser, it wouldn't have happened. But it was just as they come together, I thought, oh, here we go. It's like, you know, and we've got to be careful. But it was wrapped up quite quickly, so not too bad.
Usually when you're in a press conference, you're usually asking the fighters questions. But, you know, David Haye, well, I guess you could say pretty much had a verbal assault straight on himself in Matchroom Sport. I mean, he said he's going to knock out Bellew, then Joshua, and destroy Matchroom. Very surprising. What did you make of that at the time on the table?
He's a control freak, so, you know, he likes to be in control of all the situations. And you know, he tried desperately to go around the back and do a deal with Bellew himself on this fight. And Tony told him, no, speak to Eddie. You know, he's approached Sky in the past, who we've got an exclusive contract with, and try and do a deal with them, and he was told, no, speak to Eddie. So he hates the fact that he can't do his own thing. And he's hoarded himself out to all the promoters, all the broadcasters, and he's come back to the gold. So he hates that, and will enjoy plenty more ribbing sessions along the way. But yeah, it's all fun and games. David Haye really knows how to promote a fight. He's outstanding at that, and that was part of his little plan to do so, and even the little assault on poor old Dave Caldwell as well.
Speaking of that, I mean, I was thinking this during the presser. When he was going at you, do you think that was to make Tony feel insignificant to the fact that he's going at his promoter instead of the fighter himself?
No, I just think he had a plan to go at everybody.
Yeah.
I was the nearest one, and then he was going to go on to Tony and Dave, but he sort of got stuck on me, and then it all just went from there, really.
But speaking to you in particular about his comments when he said he wants to destroy Matchroom, obviously quite strong. You never really heard that before from David, but what do you think of that?
Selling a fight. He's desperate for the money, so he's desperate for the Bellew fight. That's why he's taking the Bellew fight. Let's not delude ourselves. Let's not say that it's to get in a position to challenge for the world heavyweight title. It's not. It's because he wants the most amount of money he can find. And guess what? The other one, the biggest fight after that, is Anthony Joshua. So that's why he's targeting those. You know, we'll decide whether he fights Joshua, but you know, if Tony Bellew beats him, he ain't going to be fighting anyone. And he's got to worry about that fight more than anything. I know that Tony's an underdog, but he's bang up for this fight. He's got the tools to beat him. He can knock him out as well. So, you know, I won't worry about Joshua. I'll just keep focused on Tony Bellew.
Tony's obviously left now. When you spoke to him after everything happened, what did he say to you? And obviously he must be extremely angry.
To have a fight with David Haye. I mean, you know, when someone raises their hands to you, it's not just broken up. It's, you know, you want to go after him, and that's what he wanted to do. But he was calmed down, and you know, he'll be back now in Liverpool training like a lunatic tonight. Because the thing you haven't got to worry about Tony Bellew is he's here to fight. He ain't here for the payday. He wants to win. So that will just motivate him and drive him even more. I wouldn't be surprised if Haye was sitting in a restaurant now, just having a laugh. Tony will be in the gym training like a lunatic tonight, and he wants to win this fight. You know, of course he's going to make a lot of money, but he wants to win this fight, and he will do everything he can to win this fight.
In terms of the gloves are off, will that be filmed if Tony's back in Liverpool?
Not today, but
not today.
Next year. Yeah. Good point. I thought we've got to do that one. Let's let him calm down first.
Speaking of the gloves are off itself as well. Obviously, ever since Sky stopped doing obviously ringside on the TV, are we going to see some kind of ringside platform with Haye and Bellew along with the gloves are off with the on-demand stuff?
Build-up shows, loads of on-demand stuff. I mean, the thing is with ringside, I like ringside a lot. No one watched it, so like you can't have a show that's got poor audience numbers and expect it to survive on a network. The hardcore is not enough to keep these kind of shows going. So, you know, maybe now we could look at it because boxing's a lot more popular now than it was when ringside was canned. But, you know, there'll be plenty of build-up shows. And if you haven't been on demand yet on Sky, go and look at the back catalogue. It's absolutely fantastic.
Notably, sorry, going back, let's think this press conference didn't happen. So last week when you actually announced the fight, obviously press release came out, and when I read it, I was surprised to say the least, because some of your comments you made the week before saying you sort of pushed it under the radar, saying it's not likely to happen. So, well, obviously, what was the reasoning for kind of pushing it under the radar?
Every broadcaster wanted to get David Haye, and I knew I was going to get him, so I didn't want to give anyone an indication. Obviously, the deal wasn't done. You know, we've made not a living, but we've made a credible position through keeping the fans interacting with the fans on social media and keeping them up to speed with everything. And sometimes it's cost me and sometimes it's helped me. Mostly it's helped me because it's made us different. But, you know, there was an occasion where silence was best and hit him with the big news. You know, when the Klitschko Joshua fight happened, you know, people were saying to me, "Oh, the Molina fight's okay, but you told us we were going to get Klitschko." No, I just told you the truth about what was happening. So you can't have it both ways. But this time we kept it quiet, and you know, the impact of the announcement was very powerful.
It was, yes, it certainly was powerful. But speaking about the fight itself, David Haye is a favourite with the bookies. When I read on boxing forums, people say that they believe Haye will win. You're obviously going to back your man. If you were going to someone who's about to buy the pay-per-view tomorrow, first of all, what would you tell them to enable them to think that Tony Bellew will beat David Haye?
Because he's fresh, he's been in tough fights, he's boxed twice already this year, he's very, very confident. David Haye hasn't been in a proper fight for 5 years. He's the favourite in the fight, no doubt about that. But Tony Bellew could knock David Haye out, no problem. And it's not, you know, David mentioned Audley Harrison, and Audley Harrison didn't throw a punch. You ain't got to worry about that with Tony Bellew. He's going to let his hands go, and he's fast, and he's not afraid to trade. But whoever gets hit on the chin first is getting knocked out. It's very simple. But the difference is Tony's got the sharpness, and I don't think David Haye's as sharp as he used to be. We'll find out. That's what's so fascinating about the fight. You've got the #1 cruiserweight in the world against, you know, one of the most dangerous heavyweights in the world, and who used to be the best cruiserweight in the world as well. So we will see. One thing I guarantee you is the atmosphere at the O2 on March the 4th will be like something you haven't seen for a long, long time.
Talk to me a bit about what were the actual reasons why it had to happen at heavyweight. Was there any point of a catchweight fight? Well, not really.
Tony wasn't bothered because Haye's going to come in light for the fight. He's not an idiot, so he'll come in at 15.9, 15.10, and Bellew will be 14, 10, 15 stone. So there's going to be 10, 12 pound difference, which is absolutely nothing in the heavyweights. This Haye's boxed heavyweights that are 18 stone, 18 and a half stone, 19 stone. So, you know, I wouldn't worry about that. Just got to be smart in the fight.
In terms of Tony's WBC belt, obviously his when he fought BJ Flores as a voluntary, but Marius Bradis is the mandatory and hooks #2, I believe. So what's the situation with the WBC belt?
Well, we've applied for a special permit to take this fight up at heavyweight, then move back and fight at cruiserweight. So the WBC will make their decision at the upcoming conference that they've got, and you know, we hope to remain the WBC world champion.
In terms of Matchroom itself, moving on to 2017, firstly, will this be your first show of 2017, or are you planning something before that?
We'll have 2 shows before that, yeah. We'll announce our schedule in the next couple of weeks.
Any news at the moment on fighter migration, as you mentioned to me in the interview last week? Tyrone Nurse went inside Frank Warren. I'm not sure if he actually was with you.
He wasn't, but he came on to us, you know, and he said, can Matchroom offer us anything?
Yeah.
Been offered this by Frank Warren, and we said, no, go ahead. You know, it was a good opportunity for him. You know, he's not one of the fighters that's probably at the forefront of Sky's selection process, so I think it's a good deal for him, and he's a good fighter, a good bloke, and I wish him all the best.
But since that deal was being placed, have you noticed anything different with fighter migration? Maybe fighters on the phone to you,
I'm sure there's
stuff like that?
No, fighters don't get on the phone to you, they'll just go and do their own research. But there's plenty of fighters that I think should look at that opportunity, because I only want to work with the elite fighters and the ones that can go on, fill stadiums, fill arenas, and ultimately come on and become pay-per-view draws on Sky, and not everybody can. So if you can't do that, I'm not saying we can't progress you to that stage, but if you're at a level where clearly that's not going to be the case, what's the future for us with that fighter? You know, there's plenty of British, European champions that just aren't going to fill arenas, aren't going to deliver ratings on Sky, aren't going to become box office fighters, aren't going to create attention when they fight. So what do you do with those guys? So we want the other ones. We want the ones that are going to put bums on seats, going to fill out arenas, going to hit big numbers on Sky, going to create social media impressions. And, you know, that can't be everybody.
Final two things, Eddie. Firstly, with Derek and Dillian, obviously next
Well,
week.
that was handbags
Yeah.
compared to Derek. I mean, I've seen that. That gloves are off. That was nothing.
Compared to the gloves are off, yeah.
Well, that was proper. That was proper. That went off. No, that went off for a second.
Yeah.
But Chisora White, we got to think smart next week because it's going to be very dangerous.
Speaking of the promotion of the fight, though, it's pretty much sold it for itself for
It's a good fight.
box
It's a good
office.
heavyweight fight. It's a world title eliminator. It's a British heavyweight championship. And it's two blokes that want to tear each other's heads off in and out of the ring. Don't get any sweeter than that.
Finally, obviously Saturday at Wembley Arena, you had to head off, so I couldn't quite catch up with you. But analyse the show for me in general. Obviously, Katie Taylor made an emphatic debut. Haye Davis being Scarpa. Jay Ball obviously a devastating knockout defeat. But I'm sure he's going to come back. So just speak to you about each fight and how they did.
A fairly low-key show for us in terms of headline names. Chance for our younger fighters to impress and see if they can move through the levels. Some did, some didn't. Katie Taylor was sensational. Absolutely loved watching her. Can't wait to see her back on December the 10th. You know, Jake Ball got knocked out. He made a mistake and he paid the price. Ted Cheeseman was excellent. O'Hara Davis was a good win. Wasn't overly exciting, but you know, it was a big win for him. Won every round against a decent level European fighter. Martin Ward retained his belt. Okay. He wasn't his best performance. John Wayne Hibbert lost, got knocked out and retired. Reece Bellotti picked up the English title. You know, Felix Cash looked great again. So, you know, a good chance for our youngsters to fight on a big bill.
So finally, the situation on Kell Brook, how's his eye? And heading into 2017.
His eye's good. It looks like he's going to fight Errol Spence. So, you know, he's not going to be ready till March, April anyway. So we'll see what happens there and then get that fight made.
Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for your time once again for PSB Sports. Wish you all the best and hopefully we can see you very soon.
Cheers, mate.